Howdy, y'all, and welcome to Dakota Daydreams. I'm Dakota, and today we're going behind the scenes for episode 2. Last time I went over the 7 steps I use to make videos, but then I started thinking if I really want to make making videos, being a content creator, easier and more fun, then I have to ask myself a difficult question. What's the hardest part? Like, honestly, what are the biggest hangups that I'm having that slow me down or make it more difficult to make the videos? Because only by unraveling that mystery can I truly make it easier and more fun for everyone else. And at first, I thought the numbers are going to be the hardest part, but the longer I work on it, the more I find that the numbers usually have quite a delay from what's actually happening and what Creator Studio is able to load in and tell you about. And that's okay, because it's just a general idea of how your videos have been doing, not a full reflection of what's happening now. So I try to limit the times I check a little bit. And I've decided to do this just to help my own sanity a little bit, because towards the beginning, I was just refreshing a lot, I'll be honest. But I'm working on limiting myself to checking when YouTube Studio gives me a notification, roughly 24 and 48 hours after posting, just to see how I think they call it like current views or something, is doing on the newest video, but not really holding it hard in comparison or paying heavy attention to certain stats yet because they're still loading. And then I sometimes just take a peek when it would make me smile and bring joy and try not to worry too much about what it actually says, but hey, the little arrow's green, so it's good, you know? And so far, the best thing I've found to help with keeping the numbers in the green is just using good tags. So, for example, I'll go into my Creator Studio app and find where it says content on the bottom row. Tap the little 3 dots beside any of the videos, and then find the editing pencil tucked up in the little menu that pops up from there. Inside the editing screen, make sure to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and it'll have a section that starts with tags and has some other editing features. And then inside of that menu, tags is at the top, and you just type them in at the bottom and separate with a comma. And I try to make sure that I use not only the common name or names that I use for plants, but also names for the things I'm doing that I've seen other people using for the same thing, just to help other people find content about something, even if they call it by a different name, because the internet is worldwide and we are sharing with everyone. So, to help everyone find what they're looking for, even though we all call it different names, it helps to add the different names in the tags. One of the most difficult numbers for me has been the average view duration, or AVD, on videos, or the view percentage, because it always looks so low. But one thing I try to keep in mind is, hey, sometimes I start videos and then something or other happens and I have to pause it and I set it down. and then I honest to goodness forget that I was watching a video until I stumble back into their channel and I'm like, "Hey, I started watching your last video. Let me finish that before I watch your new one." And sometimes that's what happens. And then also, sometimes you're trying to scroll and accidentally tap a video and have to back out of it. I'm pretty sure it counts that. And that's okay, because again, it's a general idea. What I look to a little bit more is my comments and feedback to see what are my subscribers and followers and passersby to see the video for the first time saying about what they saw. And honestly, that's where I get a lot of the motivation to keep on going and trying from outside of my offline support systems, namely my partner. So just keep that in mind with the view duration and just breathe. It's okay. But after I worked through the numbers, I started to worry a little bit. Maybe I just don't have enough ideas to keep this going. And if you ever feel that way as well, try this. First, remember that ideas are not something that already work. They are your magic step. You bring them in. And here's a method I use to brainstorm sometimes. I'll open the clip art bank and I'll find a picture that to me represents ideas flowing. And then I'll imagine everything I'm doing right now goes extremely well and try to envision what might I be able to do 1 year from now, 2026. By then, I could see myself expanding my gardening to having herbs that grow in the kitchen, and my scheduled series to maybe have a side series where I go through my ideas and theories about the world, possibly called Confessions of a Daydreamer. Okay, keep that going. Both of those take off, they do extremely well. Few years later, it's now 2030. Well, by then, I'll probably be able to start gardening in the yard, maybe even build a greenhouse, and I might even have the space to start an aquarium. Okay, let's look a little farther. It's 2035. Everything else keeps going well. I have a little bit more space. I can start keeping a lizard of some kind, some reptiles. I've got chickens in the yard, maybe even quail. I'm not sure. But let's keep going. Everything keeps going well. It's 2045. The yard's even bigger. There's space to put in a duck pond. There's goats now. And it's just growing and growing. Let's go a little bit further. It's 30 years from the present day, 2055. There's horses, there's root crops, there's cows and sheep and llamas and orchards and berries, and time to pick up hobbies I haven't thought about in years. And maybe at that point, I might even try getting deer and seeing if I can breed a dairy deer in a few generations. I feel like it can be done. And I like to keep going until I hit the point I have blank spaces on the edge. I can't think of anything else I could possibly want to do. Because inevitably by that point, something you could be doing now pops up on the board. I have right now everything I would need to start a little side series where I do yarn craft. I even have yarn. All I'd need is a tripod or something to hold the phone while I'm working on it. That could actually move all the way up to the 1 year plan. And that's why I do this. There will always be things that can be moved up sooner that could be grouped with other things. For example, ducks and geese have very similar needs. The duck pen could just be a little bit enlarged to accommodate geese as well. Turkeys and chickens are very similar. A lot of things can be done sooner than we think. We just have to look at everything we want to do to put it all in order. Then what's the hardest part? I asked myself, and I found that it was staring me right in the face the entire time. Fear. For me, the hardest part has been fear. Whether it's fear that I'll try and fail or that I can't do it, or fear that I will succeed so overwhelmingly that I can't recognize myself anymore at the end of it. Fears that I'll never have the time or the task management to possibly do all of these things that I'm wanting to do. But I have to remind myself to breathe when I'm feeling that way and reflect on the fact that I found the time to try. And every time I try, the process will go faster the next time. That failure is the first step of learning. And if you ever forget it, look at any baby learning how to walk. Human, animal, any of them, they fall before they walk. It is a fact of life that to learn anything, you have to fail a few times. And it's okay. Breathe and remember that task management is a learned skill. And the more you practice, the easier it's going to get. And then keep breathing until fear is replaced by success. Because you cannot lose track of who you are if you recorded your journey to look back on and remind yourself when you make it. A motto that I have kept myself trying with for most of my life has been, if I keep my head in the clouds, I can do anything. Because if it's true, if you dream it, if you feel it, if you have seen it in its final form in your mind, you can build it around yourself over time with effort and practice. Thank you for dreaming with me. Try not to let the fear hold you back. Breathe through it. Drop a comment down below so that we can watch each other grow. And until next time, take care of yourself and keep your head in the clouds.